How are you, man?
This is good, yeah.
Are you content with that seat?
Thank you, yeah.
Nice. It's got lots more questions. Let me kick this off. So, you and your family recently made a big move. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I've sort of been serving in the worship team for probably over 20 years and love it, and we'll continue to do that. But we've always sort of had in our heart that we wanted to pastor a church or churches, build churches. We love the house of God, and so that's always been in our heart. So, and we've always loved the UK. I'm English and Australian, and so my mum was born in England, actually born in Chester, and so we actually moved to that part of the world, and we're in the very early stages of planning a church in Liverpool, Hillsong, Liverpool, and we're just so passionate about that whole region. Actually, there's a couple like really fantastic pastors and churches happening there, but there's a huge need, and it's a massive population. Within sort of an hour's drive of where we live, there's between 10 and 11 million people. So there's massive need, and we're fired up for it.
So good. And still writing?
I'm writing most days.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
How do you overcome the invisible bar of your last great song?
Whoa.
Does that make sense?
Great.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
In a couple of different ways, I think, because you can kind of live there as well. There's a song that worked, and so you can feel okay about your songwriting, but the reality is the next day you've written it, and then the next day you're onto something else. And I think that everybody in this room, actually everybody everywhere, is on a bit of a level playing field. We're all about to write our next song, and where's the need? What does that look like? And so I think we always kind of need to approach it that way. I need to, and yeah, so much to say about that. I think it can be overwhelming sometimes. I think, but I think kind of the best cure for it is actually just sitting down at the piano and starting something new, writing, playing other people's worship songs, worshiping, get into that atmosphere. I love worship music. I love worship songs, and I think coming away from, really, because I want to analyze songs all the time. I want to think about what's making them work, and why do I love it so much? What's happening with the melody? What's happening with the lyric? But actually just coming back to a place of simplicity. I just love worship. And I love driving in my car, and I love just turning up the music too loud and just driving probably too fast and just yelling at the top of my lungs, Because I've just found that's where God moves, when the worship's up too loud and I know, God speaks.
Amazing. I can keep asking questions all day. Does anyone else want?
I was going to say, I feel like for so many of us, you've been that guy that's really taken us under your wing over the years. Like, I started out, I was 15, I don't know, when we started kind of hanging out. What would you say to someone in this room who is maybe that kind of person within their sphere, their church, whatever, but they're kind of the guy who has these people underneath them who want to write songs as well? How would you encourage that person? What should they do? I don't know. I know for you it's just kind of getting around us, building a relationship maybe, spending time with us and actually writing. I don't know if you...
I think, if you've got people around you that are writing songs, it's the best thing you can do is listen to them, but hang out with them and maybe take time and write with them. Just come alongside. I think that's the most massive benefit of having this group of people in my life, is that we kind of get better together, hopefully. And I'm constantly learning from what these guys are doing, and getting better, listening to what they're doing, what they're writing. And I actually think it's the way you improve is just get with other people, whether you think they're better than you at writing or not, and learn and put in and just collaborate, just being around people. And that's been my favorite thing, actually.
One of the things that like some of us say is like you have like this set of sensibilities that I think a lot of others don't have, as far as bringing songs to church and songs for the church. And it's something that I know in conversations we've had, like, that we value, that we think, like, you know, you just have this, you have this sixth sense around songs. Do you see that yourself? Do you have like some kind of, like, what are those things that you value when you are bringing a song, or when you know, the gap between you as a writer bringing a song and the church receiving it? What's that electricity that you see in between the two?
I think where I'm at the moment is when I sit down to write, I want to connect with what's real, and not just write something that I think is okay, or even think is going to work. It's actually getting to that place where this is real for me, and this is coming from a place of, you know, like, a place of worship, and it feels fresh, it feels strong, because actually, like, it's kind of you to say, talk about sensibilities. Honestly, most of the time I feel really dumb to it. Like, I don't know what's going to work or what isn't, and because in the moment, you guys who write songs, you would know this is, you feel like, actually, this feels pretty good, what I'm doing right now. And so again, I really need these guys to feed into what I'm doing, and I need to hear my songs listened to by them. Do you know what I'm saying? From their perspective. So when I play my song to Marty, I hear it a whole different way, and I need that from them. So I'm doing a lot of writing at the moment on my own. And so what I'm doing is I'm just stockpiling things that I think will work, and actually ideas that I love, themes, melodies, choruses, bridges, whatever, and I'm just stockpiling because I actually need their input into what I'm doing.
Wow.
And yeah, collaboration is so powerful, and I guess for all of us we need to find those people that we trust that can input into what we're doing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I first of all want to say thanks for sticking around for over 20 years and for all that you have modelled to us and shown us, and the way that you've paved for so many of us, not just us up here, but I'm sure many in this room as well. So I wanted to know, Rubes, like, what, you've seen a lot of people come and go, you've seen a lot of gifts come and go. In terms of the people that have remained, like, in the house, and even for yourself, what would you say some of the things, the principles or the choices or that you see that help people remain? What does it look like to have longevity?
That's cool. Such a good question. Yeah, I think you just have to make a decision that you're going to stay. Yeah. Because you are going to have reasons not to. Year in, year out, season in, season out, you are going to be given reasons why doing something else looks better. But again, this church is my family, these are my people, and in reality, this is where my life has thrived and flourished. And everyone goes through tough seasons, and mostly what we're working with is our own stuff that we've got to work through. And when we come up against maybe things that are said or things that happen or happens to everybody, or we could be offended in a situation. Really what you're coming up against is what's in you. And I think, you know, sometimes things take a while to process, you know. I'm sure everybody in this room has reason to be offended about something, a decision that was made, something that was said to you, something that your pastor did, or a decision your pastor made that you don't agree with, or whatever. But the reality is, it's just better to be a stayer and to work through our own stuff, and make that decision that you're going to thrive with the people that God's put around you, and not, you know, uproot.
So good, dude.
It's a better way. It is.
And you're amazing. Yeah.
Can I just say one more thing on that though? Yeah. Is that when there is stuff to deal with, and sometimes I couldn't articulate it, or you don't know how to. It's interesting. Joel said he found intimacy with God through writing, I'm the opposite to that. I've found God in the silence, and and so often like putting it down and walking out the door of my house and walking for hours and hours, you know, and just continue and just processing and figuring stuff out has been like the biggest gift for me in reality. And silence is powerful because sound doesn't make any sense without silence. And so usually out of those seasons something really sweet happens, and I continue to believe that.
All right, we've just got 5 minutes left together. So, sorry. So, in the next 5 minutes, I don't know if we'll get time to go through everyone, but you guys can just ask any question to anyone up here, and we'll kind of take that time for that. So, yeah, do you want to go ahead?
Okay, so this could be for anyone. There's a supernatural quality when songs of worship, when we join in, and we all know that we connect with God and God's love in just such an amazing, special, powerful way. So you're talking about writing songs, but can you give your viewpoint on why that happens?
I will give, sorry, I know I haven't talked enough.
No, I was just processing the questions. So maybe you go.
I think the amazing thing is that, like, that's the way God designed it. Like, this natural world is completely natural. Everything about us is natural. Everything about the trees and the mountains and everything is natural. But it resonates and connects with supernatural God. And so our natural song, directed to Him, becomes this interchange between the natural world and the supernatural world, just by definition of us being natural and Him being supernatural, and the exchange happening there. And it comes from the supernatural to us rather than us bringing something and it entering the supernatural world. It's almost like the supernatural world absorbs the natural sound of our voice and the worship and the song, and I think of it more like a gift, like that our song would be received by God. Do you know what I mean? So it's just